everyone. This is Liz Easton, and I wanted to take a quick second to invite you to listen in to the PC Book Club. Wait, I need to start again. Hi, everyone. This is Liz Easton, and I wanted to take a quick second to invite you to listen to the PC Book Club, aka PCBC. Every so often, Ricardo Avila and I chat about the books that you should be reading right now. It's just like sitting on your own private book club discussion, only there's probably slightly more references to true crime and Charles Dickens. I did not write this.
We may have to re-record that anyway, because I think you just said it's just like sitting on your own private book club.
She did. That was great. Sitting on a book club. Sitting on a private book club. That's pretty racy. Sorry.
Should I try again? It's just like sitting in on your own private book club discussion, only there's probably slightly more references to true crime and Charles Dickens. So if you're looking for the class with an occasional dose of the sass, then check out the PC Book Club right here on the Popping Collars feed. Class and sass.
I love it.
I was praying to the Lord for some.
When Drake first came out, I was like, he just gonna be here and go in the mall. Cause I was like, I keep hearing, the basic. Then I'm like, this motherfucker don't miss.
You sure about that?
No, he's good.
That motherfucker don't miss, man.
He's good.
You sure about that?
In the heat of battle, he don't miss.
No.
In the heat of controversy, he don't miss.
No.
You sure about that?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Popping Collars, the podcast that lives at the intersection of pop culture and religion. My name is Ricardo Avila, and I almost forgot what intersection I was living at. But there we are. Pop culture and religion. Let's keep that in mind, folks. I am the rector of St. Luke's Episcopal Church in Los Gatos, California, where the sun always shines and the mood is always joyful. With me are my three co-hosts, whom I would like to introduce in the order they appear on my screen. Liz.
Oh my gosh. Good. Hi, Ricardo. I'm Liz Easton. I'm the canon to the ordinary in the Diocese of Nebraska. And nothing going on in my life right now.
No?
Yeah,
Nope.
right.
It's pretty chill. Pretty chill over here. And, Bald, we have had some extreme weather here in Nebraska.
Twisters?
You may have, yep, we've had twisters.
Mm-hmm.
And in the 15 years that I've lived in Nebraska, a tornado has never touched down in the city of Omaha. And we had a night a few weeks ago that was like the night of the twisters, and it was wild. So thanks be to God, everyone survived. There were no casualties, which was honestly a miracle. And it wasn't a night, actually. It happened during the day, which I think was enormously helpful to people surviving.
The twisters.
The day of the twisters. And
I like that better than, if we're going to workshop this, I like that better than night.
I think
The
there's a book
Twisters.
called The Night of the Twisters about a similar night in Grand Island, Nebraska. But anyway, it was a scary day, but we were okay. And there will probably be more. That's usually a sign that there's going to be more extreme weather. So keep us in your prayers.
Will do. Thank you, Liz. Glad you made it okay through that.
Thank you.
So what would happen? Do you have a basement to go down to?
I don't. So my apartment has a laundry room, which is not a fully underground basement. I guess that's where I would go. I don't have any internal rooms. So, but honestly, don't tell my mother. I've never sought shelter in a tornado warning. You watch the news, I always put on my shoes.
No, I'm with Liz on this.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you put on your shoes. What else do you do?
I put on my shoes and I make sure my cell phone is charged. And so I'm ready to go to the basement. But the technology is so precise now that you can watch TV and see where the tornadoes are.
Mm-hmm.
So
Do you make
stay
sure
away
there's
from the windows.
ID on your body? That sounds real morbid. Do they say you should do that?
I've never
Is that
thought
morbid?
about that, but probably.
Oh
I
my
also
God.
have in the back seat of my car, or the trunk of my car, I have a kind of like a go bag.
Go
But
back.
that's,
Yeah.
that's more for if I get stuck out on a road trip,
Snow?
which has happened
Snow,
before. I
snow.
got stuck in a flash flood once and needed a change of clothes. So that lives in my car. So like I have kind of some emergency supplies outside of my house.
It's good.
Is that a go bag that you put together, or is that one that's professionally put
No,
together?
I put it together. So it's like,
Interesting.
it's not that great, but
No, I'm
it
with
has,
Liz on
it
that.
has a copy of what's that huge book about like building cathedrals, Pillars of the Earth or something.
Revolutions
Oh
don't.
my
the Pillars
lord,
of the
that's in your go bag?
Because
Oh my gosh.
I thought I would need a really long.
Okay, Greg,
Okay,
I am
come
not
on.
surprised that you are with Liz on this half-baked team. Why are
I'm not
you
with Liz on carrying a giant tome of a book in your go bag. What I'm with Liz on is that these storms always come in the middle of the night, and I'm sorry, I'm sleeping. You know, the storm can figure out its own thing.
I mean, just
I'll
2 nights ago.
I'll cover up under a blanket or something and protect
Yeah,
myself.
2 nights ago, I woke up to a tornado warning on my phone, and I just kind of glanced at it and like rolled back to bed.
Yeah, like, what are you doing there?
Well, you should probably like watch the news.
I know these things are coming after Helen Hunt anyway, right? Like,
Right.
And Bill.
If Helen
Is
Hunt
she
can
in the
make it,
new
so can I.
Twisters movie? Is she in the new movie, Greg? I don't think she's in the new movie, is she?
No, it's Glenn Powell.
So granola bars, I think, are important.
Yeah, I do. I have some Cliff Bars. I have some beef jerky. But really what I wanted was like a change of clothes and some pajamas and toothpaste and stuff like that.
So I know we were going to try to be brief with this, but I have a little story.
Yeah,
that's out
It's
the
never gonna happen.
Well, you can do your little 3 hours later.
Five hours later.
You don't need to keep that in, but we laugh about it to this day. Okay, also, next up, thank you, Liz.
You're welcome.
Oh my god.
Next on my screen is the inimitable Greg Knight. Greg, tell us how you
Wow.
are.
I have nothing either. So does that mean that we're going to have a 15-minute conversation about?
Absolutely.
There's nothing
okay.
going on in your life either.
Hurricanes, go. Greg.
I got a lot going on in my life, but when this episode comes out, I will be 3 days away from traveling to Norway. I'm going to be going to Norway with a group of
Exciting.
high schoolers, and we're going to be walking 74 miles on St. Olav's Way to Trondheim, Norway. We're going to the tomb of a saint, St. Olav, who it turns out was a
Is
pretty
a snowman from
Yeah,
Frozen?
Do you want
he
to
is
build
not.
a
He is not a
snowman?
snowman from Frozen. He is the Viking king of Norway, who
Okay, got it.
brought Catholicism to the country, and he brought it at the point of a sword. He's not the greatest guy in the world. He was like convert
Are you
or
going to talk
die.
about that with the kids?
That's
You gonna talk about
exactly
that?
what we've been talking about. We've been talking
Excellent.
about
Excellent.
what makes a saint a saint. Does it mean that you're a good person, or does it mean something else? And we're going to go see the tomb of St. Olav and see what sort of Scandinavian Christianity is all about. So, yeah.
Cool.
Are you going to be there during Midsummer?
You know what? We're going to be there in June. Oh, I know what you're saying. Like, am I going to see like Florence Pugh at like some
Yes,
kind of cult
yes.
festival or something?
Yes.
No, I
Yeah,
do not
for sure.
plan
It's
on
going to be
doing
the
that.
longest day of the year.
That's right.
No?
But the sun only goes under the horizon for an hour while we're there.
Wild.
So, yeah,
Wild.
pretty wild.
Bring your eye mask, kids.
Yeah, I
Bring
was
your eye
gonna
mask.
say.
Wow. Thank you, Greg, for that update. Last but certainly not least is Betsy Carmody. Betsy.
I am here in Northern Virginia at the Episcopal High School. At the time of our recording, we are so close to graduation, so close to children being gone. Probably at the time of this release, they will all be gone and campus will be quiet. That will be so wild. I was very thankful this year that we are not in a high cicada zone. I was very concerned about that for us with this brood melding that's happening. But that is for my good friends over in like Illinois, Indiana. They're having that time. But that was my deep, dark fear because we do graduation outside.
Ugh.
And the last time we had that really intense brood here, it was the class of 2021. And I have so many students in that class who I really, really love. But as any teacher knows, the school year of 2020 to 21 was a
Yeah.
really tough year. And they all wanted to leave. We all wanted them to leave. We were all done with each other. And in Northern Virginia that weekend, it was really chilly and rainy. And so we were going to do baccalaureate outside because we didn't want to have everybody crammed into the chapel because it was still kind of COVID-y. And all I was imagining was cicadas flying up my vestments. That was all I could imagine. And so, but it was too rainy. So we had to have it in the gym. So I was like, oh, sure. That sounds so terrible. Okay, great. And then it was too rainy to have graduation at the front circle. It's been the only time in my whole time here that we've been unable to do graduation outside. And it was fine because there were no bugs. And so like when I think about this episode, like everything I picked is kind of aspirational, like summer aspirational. So that's where my mind is. My brain's already there.
I love it.
So I'll be, looking down the barrel of doing a little summer residency over at Virginia Theological Seminary for my doctorate. So it'll be, we'll be working on that, but it's summertime, baby.
Nice. Good job, Betsy. So we're going to call you Dr. Betsy.
No. We've got a lot of time.
I got a thing on my back. Can you look at it for me?
Nope. You should get a real doctor to look at that.
Wow. Well,
But if that thing on your back needs some educational leadership, talk to me in a couple of years and I'll take a look.
if that thing on your back needs educational leadership,
Yes. I'm here for you, Greg.
market that.
I will. I can do that.
All right. Well, that was one for the ages. Thank you all for checking in so vividly. This is our 4th annual Popping Playlist episode. And what that means is each of us 4 co-hosts has chosen 4 songs that they want to share for whatever reason, so that you have a soundtrack to your life for this summer and for many months to come. So, music is the soundtrack to our life, if you think about it, because what else would be a soundtrack except music? So, oh boy, this is tanking.
Well, you really backed yourself into a corner there.
And Liz is not having any of this. You got the mean face on.
No, I was thinking. I was a thinking face.
What else could be a soundtrack?
Cicadas.
Nature, cicadas.
Cicadas. I mean, yeah, that's true.
Okay, let me put on my professional attitude here. Well, everyone, it's good to be with you. I have to say the Popping Playlist is one of my favorite episodes. I just love music. I don't know. I'm done apologizing for loving music. It's just one of those things that is a soundtrack to my life. The best thing about music is really and truly just like what you like. It's like what Liz says about books.
Mhm.
If you want to read a trashy dime store novel, go for it. Because
Like the sorority murders.
like
example.
Sorority Murders. Have you finished
Yes.
Sorority Murders, Liz?
Yeah. And then I read the sequel.
See, that's exciting. Oh, wow.
Hmm.
Also, Ricardo, my final project for my biblical theology students is they write a 5th gospel.
Ooh.
And so they imagine a Messiah figure coming here to Episcopal High School. They have to choose an issue that Messiah is coming to kind of address and heal in the community, something that we are challenged by. But as a part of that, they get to do a 5-song playlist
Oh,
with
fun.
I love
It
it.
is really fun. Some kids have never gotten to do that with anything before. At this point, not connected to the Drake Kendrick Lamar beef.
Mhm.
I have outlawed Drake on this assignment because too many kids have chosen God's plan. Taylor Swift, I will say, is running close.
Yeah.
She's been picked a little too much.
Mhm.
All that.
Well, maybe we'll give them some ideas today.
Ooh, yes, let's do it.
Okay. Are we spinning wheel? Oh, sorry.
I'm not done with my intro.
Sorry.
Liz really.
Sorry, I'm just gonna want to go to bed at some point. Is all. I'm saying.
It's
And we have 4 songs, and we're all gonna talk about them a lot.
all right. So I wasn't talking much that first 40 minutes. I was gonna say.
Right.
All of this is to say, music is always there for you, and just enjoy it, make it part of your life, and interact with it, and let it guide you. You'd be amazed when you find the right tune. Life is just better. So maybe one of these 16 songs will be a new hit in your playlist. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to spin the magic wheel.
I spin
Right.
Betsy's favorite wheel.
So dumb.
BFW. So let's spin the wheel. And what we do is randomly the wheel will choose who goes next and does their pick. So for example, Liz might have all 4 of her picks in a row at the start and then
It
sign off
happens.
and go to bed. And
What
You
if?
know?
What if?
wouldn't that be nice?
At this point, I will say the fact that Greg hasn't had an Eagle Scout in his youth group to build us an actual wheel, I feel like really falling
A good
down on the job.
point.
That's
a
what I'm
great
just saying.
point. And I've had tons of Eagle Scouts in my program.
I'm just putting it out there if anybody needs a project.
There you go.
It's a good call.
Okay. Well, in the meantime, we're going to have to do with this fake online wheel. So let's go ahead and
Mhm.
spin and see who's going to give our first music pick.
Okay, here we go. Oh, it spun really fast. It picked Liz to kick us
Oh
off.
my goodness. Okay. Wow. So, I was ready to talk at greater length about one of them and then at lesser length about the other one. So I'll do my greater length one too while I'm feeling
Mhm.
chatty. First, I mean. So many years ago on the Popping Playlist, perhaps the first year I did I Will Always Love You by Dolly Parton. Mainly
Mhm.
because the story behind it, I think, is the greatest story ever told. The story of Dolly Parton and Porter Wagoner and the writing of that song. Anyway, I won't get into that today, but I picked another Dolly Parton song, and this comes with a shout out and a recommendation. So my friend Hannah recommended that I listen to the podcast Dolly Parton's America. Has anyone listened to this? It's 9-part. Oh my gosh, it is so good. It's a WNYC podcast. It's fantastic. So I really recommend it. One of the episodes does kind of a deep dive into the song 9 to 5, which is that's what I want on the playlist this time around is the classic workers anthem 9 to 5 by Dolly Parton.
I tumble out of bed and I stumble to the kitchen, pour myself a cup of ambition and yawn and stretch and try to come to life. Jump in the shower and the blood starts pumping. Out on the streets, the traffic starts jumping with folks like me on the job from 9 to 5. Working 9 to 5. What a way.
So just as a reminder, 9 to 5 was released in 1980 as the kind of title track to a film of the same name starring Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin. And it was Dolly Parton's very first, it was her film debut. She had been looking around for a long time of a film that she wanted to be a part of. And when she read that script and was approached by Jane Fonda, she thought it was great. What's funny about Dolly Parton is how she sort of subverts expectations about herself all the time. And there is a sense in which Jane Fonda was casting a woman who would be sexually harassed. And she was like, wouldn't it be funny if Dolly Parton was in the movie? And Dolly was like, yeah, ha, 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 let me bring it. And she was fantastic. Jane Fonda, of course, was a pretty controversial character at that time. And a partnership between her and Dolly Parton was unexpected. And it ended up being kind of great. So the film is sort of a revenge fantasy of women workers against their boss. And it is a funny take on a pretty serious topic. So what I wanted is 9 to 5 is a banger. Like, it's fun to listen to. The lyrics are great. The beat is great. It shows off Dolly's kind of great songwriting skills. But one of the things that I didn't know that I learned on this podcast is there was a group called 9 to 5. And they were like an activism group. They were later called the National Association of Working Women. And they advocated for equal rights for women in the workplace. And that was how the film of 9 to 5 was inspired by their activism. So the founder of that organization was on the podcast, and she talked about how the song was kind of a brilliant community organizing song in a way that I had never thought about, because the first verse, it begins with sort of a sense of like pride in oneself. It moves on to grievances about the workplace. It then to class conflict, and it ends with collective power. So, it moves from like, you're just a step on the boss man's ladder from you're in the same boat with a lot of your friends. Like in this pop song, she sort of traces what community organizing is. And I just thought that was really interesting. Like, I don't think that Dolly she's very agile when it comes to politics. And the podcast goes into that too in a pretty fascinating depth. But it was neat to see like her pretty keen understanding of an issue mapped onto a pop song. And it's just fantastic. So if you haven't listened to 9 to 5 for a long time, it's a lot of fun. Probably would be a great karaoke song. And the podcast, Dolly Parton's America, is fantastic.
There's also a documentary, 9 to 5, The Story of a Movement on Netflix. Highly recommend. That's how I learned about that connection. So I'm suddenly like having all these memories. I'm like, what was that documentary? What was it? It's from 2019. Really good. To kind
That's
of bring
great. I
those
didn't know about
things
that.
together. And especially, the recent passing of Dabney Coleman, like as the kind of comedic foil in that movie and, as the terrible boss and all that sort of stuff. And also that Lily Tomlin, Jane Fonda connection beginning
they're a
in
great
that
team.
and continuing. It's great. Love it. Nice pick.
That's fine.
Okay, spin the wheel.
Okay. Next up. Wow. Okay. You guys can't see the wheel. I can, but it picked Ricardo, but it almost picked Liz again. Like it was very close.
So close.
But
Liz, you
Ricardo,
should have been.
Ricardo, you're up.
I'll do this. So my first pick, the thing is, as Greg intimated earlier, I don't know if it was recorded. I've had my list pretty much picked since last July. But the fourth song, which is the one I'm going to talk about now, just eluded me. I was like, what am I going to do? And then Greg, you said something on some podcast episode. You said, oh, Ricardo, he's always into the singer-songwriter thing, and you're not going to have him pick any kind of hard, heavy metal song or whatever. So I thought, all right, that's
Challenge accepted.
That's it. So I went through all this stuff, and I was going to pick a nice Tom Waits song,
Right.
but nope. And so I'm like, well, okay, Bauhaus, this song. I was going to pick this, and then I thought Ministry, this kind of metal, kind of thrashy religious band from the 80s and such. But I settled on something a little less thrashy, but still quite animated. And it is one of my favorite bands when I was growing up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin in the 80s, when I was in high school, called the Violent Femmes.
Day after day.
Violent Femmes are from Milwaukee. And the way they got discovered is they were busking on a street corner outside the Oriental Theater on the night when the Pretenders were going to perform. And oh gosh, I can't remember his name, but one of the members of the band saw them and really liked their sound. And so Chrissie Hynde got wind of it, and she invited them to come in and play a little set between the opening act and the Pretenders. And that's kind of how they were discovered. So they got a deal with Slash Records, I think it was. And their debut, called Violent Femmes, was kind of one of those kind of folk punk masterpieces, as far as I'm concerned. And I got to see them at Summerfest in Milwaukee like 2 or 3 times and loved their songs. And they loved Milwaukee. In fact, I think at least one of them still lives there. So it felt like a hometown pride because there are no bands from Milwaukee except like the Bodines. So Violent Femmes. And the choice I made for my first song pick is called Add It Up. I don't know if I can actually read any of the lyrics.
I don't know whether you can either.
The thing about Add It Up is, I'm a closeted gay boy in 1983, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And this song is basically about longing to get laid. And why isn't it happening? And I'm going to, and it's very cathartic when you see it in concert. So, shout out to my Milwaukee hometown boys. Love that it really helped me get through high school in a lot of ways.
Violent Femmes always intimidated me when I was young. There was something a little scary about them to me.
They're totally goofy.
Yeah, I don't know. It might have just been the lead singer's voice. There was something that I was like, I don't get this. I mean, like as a kid.
Yeah.
Well, because there's like no filter. It's just kind of right there. It's in the way that I like. It's in the way that I like the Pixies and them, and yeah, it's just all that.
All right.
Good.
Spinning. It's me.
Yay!
Pick me. Oh, Betsy, the wheel is saving you for the end here.
It knows I think it's crap. Ignoring me.
I had like some things to respond to from earlier in the pod, but I can't remember all of them. But I do remember this, which is Liz, I can't believe there's a sequel to Sorority Murder House or
Yes.
whatever.
Mhm. So the sorority murder, yeah. There is.
Like that is shocking to me.
It's called Don't Open the Door.
Wow. I am going to go along with Liz on her pick and sort of feminist anthems, and I'm going to pick Tyrone by Erykah Badu.
Sisters, how y'all feel? Brothers, y'all
Ooh, yes.
Mainly because it's probably the best live song I've ever heard. If you've ever heard the live recording of Tyrone, it's almost like she introduces the song, but it's almost like she's never sung it before because people really react to the lyrics in this sort of like natural way to what it is that she's saying. I do secretly kind of hope that the song is about Andre 3000 and like his reliance on like Big Boy and stuff like that. Like I like to think that Big Boy is Tyrone, but
Is that a theory?
No. She would have sung this like well before they started dating. So, but I love that thought of like, you know, her calling out Andre 3000 for being like, for bringing his boys around too much and stuff. But no, it's a really simple song, about 2 minutes. But it's her giving voice to the fact of like, why don't you pay for my stuff anymore? Why don't you treat me like a person? Why don't you honor me? Why do you try to take from me constantly without giving anything in return? And it does this thing that Ricardo pointed out last year when we talked about Fancy, which is that these backup singers come in and sort of reinforce like all the things that she's saying. So she's like, you better call Tyrone. And they come in and they're like, call him. You know, it's you know, and just like Ricardo, it's got a little filthy language in it, but the language really helps sort of like power the song forward. So I love it. Erykah Badu, Tyrone. That's my first pick.
Right on. Thank you, Greg.
Nice.
Wow. Moving on. Well, so the lyrics are getting a little bumpy. That's good.
That's right. This is all the songs on our playlist are going to have E next to them.
This is Popping Collars After Dark.
Right. Okay.
Oh my God.
Oh,
It's
I
not
picked
gonna
you
pick
this
me, is
time,
it?
Betsy.
Oh,
Betsy.
Hey.
Okay, so I've lately gotten a little obsessed with thinking about a song to either perform in chapel about Ruby graduating a year from now, or
Like that you would perform?
yeah, like with other people. Like I would
You'd
sing.
sing it? Oh my God.
Yeah, I could sing it. Or a song that we would sing together. So I'm like kind of thinking about both things, right? So I've been kind of looking at songs that are kind of about that. And
Graduation by Vitamin C.
I
hope you have the time of your life by Green Day.
No.
What's that one where
Poem
it's
by
just
Philip Phillips?
it's
No,
just the speech, you know, the graduation.
Oh, the
speech?
Boz Lerman one, that we better wear sunscreen or something.
The Climb by Miley Cyrus? No.
Yeah.
So I happened upon a song that I had never heard, but it involves Brandi Carlile, which I think is how I came across my Spotify. And it's a song called You're Gonna Go Far.
So pack up your car, put a hand in your heart, say whatever you feel, be wherever you are. We ain't angry at you, love. You're the greatest thing we've lost. The birds are still sing, folks are still fight, the porch is still creak, the leaves still die. We ain't angry at you, love. We'll be waiting for you, love, and we'll all be here forever.
And it's by a singer-songwriter called Noah Kahan.
Noah Kahn.
Kahan. Noah Kahn. Thank you. Okay. I didn't know whether he was Kahan or Kahn, because Kahn is how I would pronounce it, because that's my family's last name. Okay. So what do you know about him? Do you know anything about him?
I know.
What do we know about him?
All
He's
I know is
beardy.
his song Stick Season. It was kind of like a big song last year. I love Vermont,
Okay,
but it's
okay.
the season of the sticks, and I
Okay.
saw your mom.
So
It's a great
this song, I happened upon it, and it's a song that definitely has a perspective. It's kind of set in you can feel it's in kind of a rural area, farm kind of situation, a family, and it's a duet with Noah and Brandi Carlile, and so it's kind of like a mom and dad. and they have a child that sounds like who is going to leave, has graduated, like there's some sort of, but they're leaving the area. But there's that ambivalence around your kid leaving. And that's kind of what I liked about it, because we're not really I do not live in a rural area. This is not farmland. My child needs to, escape to get to the big city. We are essentially a suburban boarding school, which is an anomaly. But that the sentiment behind it, that mixed emotion of, I want you to go and I want you to just go and get out there and live your life. But like, I'm still kind of irritated that you're leaving. And I like that mix of it in the song. Like there's a part that's like, so pack up your car, put your hand on your heart, say whatever you feel, be whatever you are. We ain't angry at you, love. You're the greatest thing we've lost.
Could
and
you
that idea
do this,
that,
Betsy? Could you do it?
I don't know whether I could actually.
She's not even my kid, and I would lose my shit. Like,
yes.
Wow, that is so emotional.
Yes. I'm dealing with a little bit that, she's actually going to go live on dorm next year. She's not going to be here in the apartment with me, even though we don't, we're both living our lives. Like I see her in the evening, and that's when we get to do our little check-ins. Now she's going to go live in another dorm over there. Like it's the beginning of the grilled cheese is pulling apart. It's all happening, right? So I've been thinking about that. So this song has been on heavy rotation. I think we're also at that time of the year with goodbyes and stuff. So my mind as a chaplain has been in that place too, and thinking about that with these families and everybody getting ready to step into that place on Saturday. So that this song, and I like their voices together. It's a great song. So
that sounds
so. This is one of my picks, and this is like a windows rolled down. You're pulling out of town type of song. Right, like just pull onto that on your exit on that highway and like go and do your thing. Because at the end, it's like if you're going to go far, you have to go far.
Thank you, Betsy.
You got it.
Oh, the places you'll go.
Oh yeah, that was the theme of my graduation T-shirt, Greg.
There you go. Okay, we spinning?
Yeah.
Do it.
Oh, it picked me again.
Oh,
Right on.
exciting.
I was not prepared for this. I have a sad song though. Betsy's kind of, I guess it's not a sad song. It's kind of like
It's kind of a rockin'. It's
sweet
a rockin'
song.
Americana song. It was sad.
Okay, well, mine's sad. Mine is I Remember Everything.
Okay, go
by Zach
ahead.
Bryan and Casey Musgraves.
Rod girl, whiskey's gonna ease my mind.
So this is a song, gosh, it must have come out like a year ago, 2 years ago, something like that. It was when it hit the country charts. Here's the thing about country music. Like, I don't know. I don't think country music is for everybody necessarily. But the songwriting and the musicianship is always just top notch. Like when it comes to country music, and the twang and stuff may not be your cup of tea, but like, holy cow, can they really sort of like nail down emotion, feeling, thoughts, like, and sort of put it together in like a really just like super package, they've really got this down to a science in Nashville of how to make these songs. And I Remember Everything is one of these that it feels like if a song can feel like Oklahoma, that's kind of what it feels like, I guess. It's like it's a song about sort of alcoholism and sort of rough relationships that can come about, and memory, and how we can use substances to try to forget the past. But also, as you live life a little bit more, you realize that, like, gosh, it's really hard to let go of bad things, and you kind of reach for, well, like Zach Bryan says in this song, you reach for rot gut liquor to try to salve your soul, but all it does is sort of cause more pain.
Nice. Thank you, Greg.
So I'm going to spin the wheel, and the wheel has come up. Liz, it's time for your second song, Liz.
Oh my goodness. Okay. This song, Ricardo and I have actually talked about recently. But I'm now at the stage in my life where my favorite bands from my youth are on like reunion tours, or not, if not reunion tours, then kind of like nostalgia tours.
I roll the window down, and then
And one of those bands is Death Cab for Cutie, they've done sort of 2 parts of a tour where they are, I think this is a thing right now, but they're just playing their album Transatlanticism from start to finish. Like, that's the show. And then also on the same ticket is the Postal Service playing their album Give Up from start to finish. And it's really fun because, especially I think probably for people my age and older, like, I'm not sure that younger generations get this, like the experience of an album and playing an album from start to finish and the songs in a particular order. And for me, Transatlanticism came out when I was 21. So it was kind of a key time in my life. Death Cab for Cutie is actually from the town where I went to college. So that album just had a big impact on my life. So now I've seen them twice in concert. I flew to Seattle to see them, and I also went to Portland. It's a little crazy. But it's been really like cathartic, and it has been a fun experience. Anyway, so the song I am thinking of and have been thinking of as I've been sort of on this nostalgia journey is a sweet song from the album Transatlanticism called Passenger Seat. But look at Ricardo's face. It's sort of like a lullaby-ish song, very simple piano, just about 2 people in a car. And it's a romantic song, but it's not an erotic song. So you can place yourself within the romance of a road trip or a car, and the driver sort of can change in your life. It could be a best friend. It could be a sibling. It could be a partner. It's just that idea of being confined in a place and resting and relaxing into kind of these big questions, and also the love that you have for another person. And the lyrics are so sweet. It's nostalgic to me because, like I said, I went to college in the same town where this band also went to college. So the first line is, I roll the windows down and then begin to breathe in the darkest country road and the strong scent of evergreen, which is very much nostalgic for my time in college. And it ends with this kind of anthem-y line of, when you feel embarrassed, I'll be your pride. When you need directions, then I'll be your guide for all time. It's just very sweet. And it's great. So if you haven't listened to Transatlanticism in a while, it's a fantastic album. That Passenger Seat is a sweet little song.
I do wonder whether that's what some current artists are doing with the way they're dropping albums. Like Billie Eilish just dropped an album, no singles, right? No singles were dropped from this album. It was just a full album. And so then it really makes you confront the album in its entirety. And it isn't saying this song is more special or that song is more, it's like
Taylor Swift essentially does that.
A double album. Taylor Swift dropped a double album.
Okay. I was not bringing up but we all know that Taylor and I have a beef with each other. So she doesn't know that, but I do. But it's like that element of like, well, I'm not gonna do that, right? We're not gonna pull things out. It's like, I want you to view this in its entirety. And I think there are more, and like Eilish just said, I want it to be like Coldplay Viva La Vida. Like, that's a full album. I want that you view in totality.
Back to the show. We're spinning. Oh, I remember what I was going to say from earlier, Betsy.
Oh gosh.
Drake sucks. I'm not with Drake.
Oh yeah, Drake sucks.
Yeah, Drake sucks.
Yeah. No, I mean, you don't get in a fight with a Nobel Prize winner.
Exactly.
Yes?
Come on, get out of here, Drake. Liz, the wheel liked your pick so much that it wants you to go again.
Okay.
My gosh.
This is short and sweet. Sometimes when I'm on a long road trip by myself and I am bored, I think I'm going to learn all the words to a song that I don't know. A song that I hear on the radio sometimes and I like, I'm going to learn every single word to it. And that can take a long time. And I did that recently with the song The Pretender by Jackson Browne.
I'm going to rid myself a house in the shade.
So now it's one of my favorite songs. Just
I thought you were going to say like Billy Joel, We Didn't Start the Fire or something, like a song that like people really challenge themselves. Okay.
Every time that comes on the radio, I'm like, I like this song, but like I don't really know it. I don't know well enough to sing along with. So I was like, well, let's just spend a 3-hour drive doing that. So now I know every word to The Pretender and I can sing it. And I like it. It's kind of a cynical song, but it's also beautifully written and arranged. And I think Jackson Browne was actually super super young when he wrote it. So it was kind of this mature insight into adulting. I like it. So that's why I picked it. The Pretender by Jackson Browne.
You guys
All
choose
right,
some.
we're spinning. Betsy has picked you this time.
When I'm on duty on Monday nights, we've been doing on YouTube, you can search like these like virtual coffee houses, and it'll just like AI will create this coffee house, and it plays kind of jazz music or whatever that we'll kind of have on. It's like it just plays and plays, right? There's occasionally an ad or whatever. And so it's just kind of background music for people to come and study in the common room if they want to. And I'm like checking and signing people in, and study hall runs here like 8 to 10. So there's a lovely student here, Riley, she's graduating. And she said, oh, I have she and I have been doing this together. She's on my night. And she said, oh, but I have another idea for maybe something we can do instead of the AI coffee shops. I'm like, what's that? She's like, it's my dad's favorite YouTube channel. And I'm like, what's that? And it's called Flavor Trip. And I say that because it is the European spelling of flavor. So I would just tell you all to Google this right now. So search Flavor Trip on YouTube. And it is these two 20-somethings from Luxembourg who in 2022, which because the whole project feels very COVID-based to me. And in 2022, they decided to take their love of travel, house music, and cooking and put them all together. So they travel about Europe and they find these beautiful locations, whether they are Airbnbs or the Swiss Alps or the coastline of Greece, and they set up their, DJ table. I don't think that's the right panel, whatever you call it, like that they use to DJ house music. So they have house music going. And then they have a table set up with like an outdoor burner, an outdoor grill or whatever. And they're cooking a dish and they make a couple of drinks for each other. But it's like an hour and a half of house music in this beautiful location filmed with several iPhones, I think is essentially what's happening. So this is Riley's father's favorite YouTube channel. He will just put it on in the TV in the kitchen. It's just like some house music playing in the background. It's lovely and ambient. So we just kind of put it on in the common room because it's a slow roll. They're making a paella over an hour and a half in the background. And it's lovely, the sun's setting, and it's just this kind of house music. So you're just kind of tapping away, doing whatever you're doing. And you're occasionally looking at them. Their names are Jimmy and Amy with an inordinate amount of I's involved in their names. I don't understand how people spell names in Luxembourg. But they, there was a song, and actually, somebody said, do they put their recipes in the YouTube, listing? I said, no, they put the playlist. That's the focus. The focus is the house music playlist. So there's a song that they listed that I actually really liked, and so I found it on Spotify and added it to my liked music. It's called Been a Long Time. It's by a group called The Fog. And it's a lovely house music track. It's just got a great beat to it. I love it. I actually want to go back and figure out which Flavor Trip it was on because I love the whole whatever groove they had going on that episode. It was great. And so it's just like it's just lovely. And so these two, it's just fascinating. But this is what they've put together. They sell ads. An ad will come on occasionally. Fine. Work through that. You can skip it if you want. But this is their life and their career.
That sounds so fun. I love that. Right. And it does sound COVID-y.
It does, doesn't it?
They kept it going. Yeah.
Right.
They kept it going. And so I think and they just kind of have this kind of European sensibility. Occasionally Jimmy will go wander around the abandoned fort they're in, or, he'll do a little swimming around this kind of cool boat wreck in Greece where they're filming. But it's just they're kind of doing it out in the world in a way that's well done, and they just love house music.
How do people come up with this stuff? Is it just, I love house music. I love to travel. Let's put them together. That's pretty cool.
Let's do it.
Right. People become famous on YouTube. I mean, it's like every time I turn around, it's like, oh man, I love this thing on YouTube. And then I'm sure if you go and look at Riley's dad's whatever, like this thing, there's like 8 million views of this thing. And I'm like, I've never heard of this. Like, how do people find these things? It's so crazy. Ricardo, it's finally picked you again.
Wait, yeah, this is my second pick. Have you done 2 already, Greg?
I have done 2. Betsy has done 2. Liz has done 3.
Oh, right on. Well, clearly the wheel knows to pick the best for last. So I forgot to say that my playlist has a theme that might be pretty obvious, but it's relationships, which is like 99% of all music. But each of these songs, I think, is a particular moment in a relationship. So Added Up is about like not being able to score and being, why can't I get just one kiss? This next song is about a breakup and running into your ex at a bar and when she's with someone else, and how it makes you feel like an exile on an island of some sort.
I can see you standing, honey, with his arms around your body, laughing.
Sorry to tell you this, Betsy, but it is by Taylor Swift.
No.
I mean, there are corners. She just can't not be at places. So, I get it.
However, when I think of the song, I think more of the person that sings it with her, Justin Vernon of Bon Iver. So he kind of has the bigger part in the song. It's called Exile, and it's off of her 2020 Folklore album, which she did kind of in COVID time. I mean, it's a fantastic song. I think it's perfect. I think it's amazing. It's basically about love that was lost, and yet you're still you're not okay with it. You haven't kind of reconciled yourself to it. And why did this have to happen? I understand. I don't know Taylor Swift very well, but I understand that many of her songs are about relationships and breakups and all of this stuff. Betsy, you look like Linda Blair in The Exorcist.
Listen, Taylor knows how I feel about it. She knows how I feel.
She does not. She's just not talking. Right. So the song Exile, what to say about it? It's kind of a perfect song. And I will just, Betsy, I hope you listen to it on our popping playlist, because I hate to say it, I think you'll like it, because I think it's pretty fantastic.
Okay.
So the refrain is, I think I've seen this film before and I didn't like the ending. You're not my homeland anymore, so what am I defending now? You were my town, now I'm in exile, seeing you out. I think I've seen this film before, which kind of doesn't say that much when I think about it, but
it's very haunting though, the way that she sings it. It's very pretty.
Yeah, it's pretty, it's haunting, it's about loss, and the characters, the Bon Iver character can't understand why she broke up with him. He's like, you never gave me any warning signs, and she's singing, I gave so many signs. So he didn't see the signs, and it was just this miscommunication. So relationship upon breaking up, and she's already kind of out with someone else, and he's kind of bitter about it. But Exile by Taylor Swift and Bon Iver, I would defend that song I would do the ditch thing. What do? You die in the ditch?
You die in that ditch.
Oh.
In the famous words of Lewis Weil, he would die in that ditch.
All right, spinning. Ricardo, the wheel says you can just keep on talking.
Ooh.
I know. Okay, well, God, it's really hard to just come up with the next one so quickly. The theme is relationships, but in a kind of a sideways way. This song, it's called I Love You, I Hate You, and it's by a young British female rapper named Little Sims. And it's great. Again, it's great. It's from 2021. I don't even know how I came across this song, but it's like a drum and bass. Got a drum and bass thing going on, and it's this man's voice going over and over throughout the song. I love you, I hate you. And it's about her relationship, her strained relationship with her father. Her father was an absentee father, even though he promised to be there for the kids. And it's all about her working out her feelings for him. And it's pretty amazing. It's like the guy singing I Love You, I Hate You is basically how she feels about their relationship. Very ambivalent. And she's, I think, 30 years old now, and this came out about 3 years ago. She was 27, very mature and the lyrics are just fantastic. She was featured, some of her songs were featured on that HBO show that I actually got to watch, I May Destroy You. But the best thing about the song is that it does all these things. It's got this James Bond, Shirley Bassey, like violins and trumpets. Bum, ba-da-dum, ba-da-dum, diamonds are forever. Maybe I'm hating myself here, but she's got that kind of that James Bond craziness, but then also the way she raps pretty quickly, but then also underneath all of that is this drum beat. So it's quite a production, and it's pretty fantastic how it all comes together. And I think the lyric at the very end is she kind of comes to this place where she says, I keep you in my prayers because life is short as we know. Every mistake you make should contribute to your growth. What you choose to avoid will probably come in your dreams. I'm not forgiven for you, man. I'm forgiven for me. And sometimes I love you. I hate you. It's a great song on like many levels. I Love You, I Hate You by Little Sims. Check it out.
Okay. Will the wheel pick Ricardo for a fourth time?
I'm not ready.
No, it will not. It will pick Betsy for her third song.
Okay. I'm going to go with 16 Carriages by Beyonce.
16 carriages driving away while I watch them ride.
From Cowboy Carter. This has kind of risen to the top as one of Ruby and I's favorite tracks from this album. And it's a song about her rise to fame as a young person and kind of this passing away of her youth in favor of the career. It's kind of where the lyric goes. But I love the musicality of the song and the drops in the song, and that just 16 carriages driving away. And again, like windows down, summer song, and it's this summer sunset on a holy night. And there's just the element of the lyric. I love that. And then when she starts to rap in the song, there's just this total kind of bounce that happens in the music and the lyric, and it just feels like a summer night. It feels sticky and humid, and that's what I like about the song, and just kind of that reality of looking back at the path that you've worn and thinking about her as like a 15, 16-year-old and decide to embark on this career in the way that she did, and whether that's also parentally based and her based and how all that works together. But
I was gonna say,
I love the drama of that one.
Yeah, when I think of young Beyonce, gosh, I think of like all those Destiny's Child stuff and like her, parents being her manager and like managing like the whole group and like the dynamics of that group and like her being sort of the obvious kind of future breakout star, I mean, how much of it? Yeah, it's like, what can she put into words, about like that experience that feels real, but also acknowledges that like, she was part of this, creation, kind of thing.
Yeah. It's like at 15, the innocence was gone astray. I had to leave my home at an early age. I saw mama praying. I saw daddy grind. All my tender problems had to leave behind. 16 carriages.
Wow. Look at this playlist, you guys. T Swift, Queen Bee. A lot of fandom going on here.
They're not enemies in real life.
Sorry.
They're not enemies in real life, are they?
No, but we are really repping for some big fan bases, except for Drake's. He still sucks. Okay. Ricardo, the wheel would like you to wrap up.
Man, I thought I was going to be able to hold out. So this is going to be a long one. So settle in. The song I picked is called Love Song to a Stranger by Joan Baez. Came out in 1968, I believe. When I first went to San Francisco, I went to an LGBTQ group of Catholics called Dignity San Francisco. We met in a Presbyterian church. I did that for 3 years. But then I just got disenchanted with the Roman Catholic Church. And it's like, we're banging our heads against a wall here, hoping they'll accept us. And I don't have time for this. And latest kind of abuse scandal came through. And I thought, no, I'm done. And there was some kind of infighting within that group. So I walk away and I wandered around for a while, and I wound up at an MCC church, Metropolitan Community Church, which is like LGBTQ, but kind of more kind of sing songs and clapping. It wasn't as high church, for example. I coincidentally had broken my ankle roller skating on a date with someone.
Oh, yes, you did.
Very
Was
clumsy.
this roller skating or blading?
It wasn't even blading. It was roller
We
skating.
weren't blading yet. We're roller skating in
Yeah.
a roller rink.
Yeah, it was a roller.
Yeah. Okay.
It was
okay.
game night.
Game Saturday.
There we go. Into
Roller
it.
skating.
Is it every night at a roller rink in San Francisco gay night?
Let's name it.
Every night in San Francisco.
It's true. Yeah, that was my experience.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, so that was Patrick. I dated Patrick, and I broke my ankle, and we dated for 6 weeks. And I didn't sow my wild oats as much as I wish I had, but at the time I was dating Patrick, I was on crutches, right? And staying at his place. He happened to be our next door neighbor. But then I went to MCC, and out of nowhere comes this kind of older, muscle-bound, dashing man named Gabriel, who it turns out is a sheriff.
Gabriel's at the church.
I love
Okay.
this story.
Yeah.
I'm into this.
So Gabriel,
The
is,
sheriff.
"Oh, do you need help? Do you need help?" And he was all very charming. He was 14 years older than me. I think I was 29. No, I was like 30 or 29 or something. Anyway, so Gabriel's very charming. He's a sheriff. He's muscular. He's very sweet. And so we
Should
started
this be a
dating.
subscription part of the podcast? Are we moving into? Is this a Patreon part? Okay. keep going.
No.
Okay.
For the rest of this story, join us on Patreon. It won't be too graphic. So basically,
Okay.
what happened was I don't remember how I stopped dating Patrick and started dating Gabriel, but I think they overlapped for a while because I was on crutches. Anyway, Gabriel and I dated for about 5 months, and he was a real romantic. He was from like Arkansas, and he was around in San Francisco in the 70s. He had all that history. We had a good time, and he was very sweet to me, but it wasn't a real match. I was kind of a jerk when I was young, and I thought, this is fun. I'm really into Gabriel, but I'm still want to play around. But he said pretty early on, he said, "I love you."
No.
And I said, "Oh," I don't remember what I said. I probably said, "I love you too." But we were together for about 5 months. And I remember that he was at the age where he didn't want to go out and do all the things I wanted to do. He kind of wanted to stay home. And he did this funny thing. He watched nature shows all the time. So like the Animal Kingdom kind of stuff where the leopard is killing the zebra or whatever. I didn't understand, but that's kind of all he wanted to do. But he was very sweet, and he really loved me, and we had a good time. And I started making him some mixtapes, mix CDs, which I used to do before I went to seminary when I was still cool. And so I made him a mixtape, and this was back when Oasis had Wonderwall and stuff, or maybe like a year after. He'd never heard of any of that stuff, and he was like, "Wow, this music is great." And so he said, "Oh, I have some music for you too." And he loaned me Joan Baez's Greatest Hits, I think it was. And he said, "I especially like this song, Love Song to a Stranger. Listen to it."
How long since I've spent a whole night in a twin bed with a stranger? His warm arms all around me. How long since I've gazed in the dark eyes that melted my soul down to a place where it longs to be. All of your
And I did it, and I'd never heard it before. And do you guys know this song at all? Yeah, it's a beautiful song. It's like her and guitar, and it's basically about a weekend romance she has in a hotel room with someone she's never met and will never see again. And how it's actually this healing experience for the two of them. You gave to me oh so many things. It makes me wonder how they could belong to me. And I gave you only my dark eyes that melted your soul down to a place where it longs to be. They basically had this meaningful kind of relationship that was healing for both of them, but they were strangers and they knew they'd never see each other again. So it was a beautiful song. I thanked him for it. But sooner or later, I just kind of started to give off signals that I was not that interested, and he was kind of heartbroken, and he would kind of challenge me here. Why can't we be together? I just need to, I need to run around more. I need to see people. So I kind of broke his heart. And so badly that he just kind of cut everything off, refused to talk with me. There's not actually that much to the story, except we broke up and he wouldn't speak to me. And so I thought, well, I've got his greatest hits CD.
Oh,
and I want to return it to him, but he won't, take my calls or anything. So I sent it to him through the mail in a manila package, with the bubble wrap and stuff. A couple of weeks later, it came back. And on the outside, he had written this big word, refused. And so he wouldn't even open what I had sent him. And so to this day, I have that Joan Baez CD.
And it's a great story, Ricardo.
I had seen Gabriel around. He met someone else. He had a type. I was definitely his type. Younger, Latino, and he married someone. I sort of found him on Facebook. And so I kind of wished him well, gave him a little blessing. And
do you ever say anything to him when you see him?
I've tried to go up to him, but I'm too scared.
Oh God.
And in fact, I've left a cafe. I walk in and there he is with his friend that he's always talking with, Ray. And I said, oop, gotta go. What Gabriel used to say to me is like, somebody did something to you in your young life that you can't be in a committed relationship right now. And he was kind of right.
Yeah.
I had this, I couldn't commit to someone who was just going to love me right there.
But also you were in your 20s and had just come out and were in San Francisco.
And he's older. It's a different phase of life. Betsy, you're muted.
He wanted to watch nature shows.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He
was only
wanted to
40,
go out.
or something.
Yeah. No,
he was 42. And yeah, 40, it must have been 44. And I was 30. And that's true. So that's true. But I was not that nice to him. We went out with a couple of friends and Gabriel said something about blah, 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 blah. Well, my boyfriend. And I said, we're not boyfriends. And the whole table got quiet. He was a little snot. And I wish that I could have the guts to go up to him and apologize and give him his Joan Baez CD back and tell him that I really appreciated that we spent together. And, who gets to say they dated a muscle-bound older sheriff?
It's a great story.
That often.
You could send him the recording of this podcast.
No. No.
What if he listens?
Well, he doesn't. And if he does, then he should get in touch with me.
Yeah.
But Gabriel was a sweet guy who was already kind of set in his ways, and I wasn't. And I had the commitment phobia stuff going on.
But
So
I see, Liz, I can see you you're going into priest mode of reconciliation and all of this.
No.
I love this as a story that just lives in the time where it happened. It's like you having that CD is the perfect sort of coda to it. I hope you avoid Gabriel for the rest of your life, Ricardo.
Wow, no closure. Just let it be what it was.
I just love I'm not going into priest mode. When I hear stories like that, I know so many people who have regrets of the time that they broke someone's heart.
Yeah.
And like all of us have also been on both sides of that equation. It's just such a common thing to be heartbroken, but also to be the one who you look back and you're like, God, that was not my best version of myself, but in the time you don't know it or you can't be. It's just so common. And it makes me sad when people have regrets about it because it's so universal. We've all been there, right? Gabriel's probably okay.
Yeah.
Maybe. No.
I think he's okay.
We can pray. We can pray that he is all right.
I certainly feel like I learned something about myself in that relationship. And it's that I was commitment phobic. I mean, it took William 3 years before I said yes. Poor guy. But the reason, one of the reasons it worked with William is he stuck around.
Mhm.
He's the hero of our story, easily. You
I
know.
love this.
Yeah.
Wow.
I appreciate-
Wow.
Thank you for that story. That's great.
Wow. Great
Thank you.
job, Ricardo.
Anyway, that's it.
The wheel has picked Liz again for her last song.
Well, surprise, surprise, jokers. I didn't pick a fourth song.
Oh,
Couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. So I didn't do it. And I was planning, I thought that through the course of the conversation, I would be like, aha, but that never happened. So pass.
It was the
whoa.
first.
I know.
This is
I reject the premise of the assignment.
like confused.
What's happening?
What?
I just didn't pick a fourth song.
Okay.
You can do that.
What, does that ruin the whole thing?
Oh my gosh.
No.
No, I'm typing something in the spot. What am I typing? What?
Nothing.
You're not typing anything,
nothing into
Rick.
pot.
Quit
into Spotify.
typing.
I gave you 3 songs. That's all you get. You're welcome.
I think we should-
Okay. I wonder, is there
the,
like
the completist over here are not gonna. They're not handling.
No,
this
no, no.
well.
I'm just thinking, is there
Okay.
like an untitled song that's just like a 5-second blank track where like nothing
Yeah,
plays?
nothing happens.
Like,
I think there is. I think there is on a Nico Case album at the end. It's just like crickets.
There you go.
that's
I don't think
that's what I'm gonna pick.
I'm gonna.
Okay, the wheel has finally come back to me after I've been wandering in the desert for 40 years here. So I am going to pick the song that I was planning to talk about, but I'm not going to have like a long thing to say about it. And that is Ever Fallen in Love by Buzzcocks.
And if I start a commotion, I run the risk of losing you, and that's worse. Ever fall in love with someone, ever fallen in love with someone, ever fallen in love with someone you should have fallen in love with.
So it's funny because Ricardo was talking about this idea of relationships and that being his theme for his songs. And what I realized is that all the songs that I picked are breakup songs, which is I don't know what that says about me or my my state of mind right now. But okay, so I always like to talk about like the craft of the song, and then also talk about the meaning of it. So Ever Fallen in Love by the Buzzcocks is from what, 1978. It's a punk song. It's definitely a punk song because it's only 2 minutes long and it only plays one chord for most of the song. But it's also a pop song. It's a pop punk song, which we don't necessarily think about from the 70s, you know, because punk was just such a burgeoning genre at the time. When punk was punk, you know, in the 70s, like we think of pop punk as being something that sort of comes out of the Green Day experience in the 90s or something like that. But no, this is a straight up pop song. It has harmonies. It has like Beach Boys harmonies during the chorus and stuff. They're really pretty. And the song itself it's a love song. It's about a breakup. It's about a rough relationship that the lead singer has. What is it? He has the line of "You make me feel like dirt and I'm hurt." You know, it's like this whole. But love isn't something that you would necessarily hear the Sex Pistols singing about, right? Like this is sort of a unique thing that the Buzzcocks are doing here, and this is a queer story. So the lead singer of the Buzzcocks is a gay man. He's talking about a relationship that he had with another man at the time, and he intentionally uses pronouns like you, we. So anyway, it's just a lovely song. It's about a relationship that, you know, probably had to be hidden at the time. It's this sort of beautiful song that lives in this aggressive genre. It's sort of this mishmash of a lot of different things that are going on in it. But at its heart, it's really asking this sort of poignant question that I found myself asking a lot lately, which is like, what if you love something so much that doesn't necessarily love you? You know?
Mhm.
And I think that that's a hard thing for people to sort of come to grips with sometimes, you know, where it's like, you know, you can want something, you can feel like a part of something, and then for whatever reason, like it just doesn't click for you, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a job, whether it's a, you know, a friendship, who knows? Like, you know, it's just not like you're not connecting, you know, in that way that you really wish that you could. I think that for a really simple 2-minute song, this song sort of puts its finger on what that feels like to me. So Ever Fallen in Love by Buzzcocks is my third pick.
Yeah, it's a great song. It's a little painful.
It is a little painful, but breakups are a little painful. Okay. We have, what, 2 more songs really quickly? Either Betsy or me. Betsy, it's you.
It me. All right. So my last song is from the soundtrack of my freshman college roommate's movie. My roommate, Marie, or Mariam Keshavarz, she released her movie, The Persian Version, this year. First major studio release by an Iranian American woman as a director. And so she's also a writer on the movie, and it tells the story of her life. And it's kind of a cross-cultural, pop cultural comedy, but also it's the story of a family and the saga and the history of a family, and about Iran and about being Persian, about being American. And I think for our listeners, this is completely up your alley, right? There is so much pop culture in this film. And I think for us as you know, I'll speak for me as a Gen Xer, and Marie and I as being, you know, the same age, just it's so much. And so much about fitting in as an immigrant is about knowing the culture. And so just the little girl who plays her in the movie is just priceless. And it does such a good job with all of that. But they do a cover of Cyndi Lauper's Girls Just Want to Have Fun. And it's sung by the actress that actually plays Miriam's mother in the film. And her name is Neosha Noor. And I might be mispronouncing her first name. And Rostam, who is an original founding member of Vampire Weekend, who has since left Vampire Weekend to go do a lot of music producing, scores, and all sorts of things, and collaborating with a bunch of other people, is the person who did the music score for this movie and did the producing on this song. And so just that element of, for Miriam being, you know, the only girl in a family with all these boys, and kind of how femininity and being a girl is kind of viewed in, you know, Iranian culture. Like, being female meant that she could travel back and forth to Iran, see her grandmother, and allowed her some freedom of travel because her brothers couldn't, because they could be drafted into the army, right? But then there's also these roles and these things that she's supposed to take on and be, especially when she has, you know, elements in her identity that identify as queer and all of that sort of thing. So it's the song, you know, somebody's trying to take this beautiful girl and hide her away from the rest of the world, you know, but don't you know, I just want my time in the sun. And they use a lot of, you know, Persian instruments, you know. I don't know whether, you know, it sounds like a sitar to me. I don't know whether that is, you know, the correct identifier in Persian culture, but like, you know, drums, this, that, and like just the way that they play with the song, it is just so joyful. And it comes, I mean, the whole dance number in the movie at the closing credits with the song is just awesome. So like, this should be one of your songs of summer. You know, I don't know whether people are listening to like Espresso or whatever other people like they think their song of summer is going to be. This cover of Girls Just Want to Have Fun is incredible because the musicianship on it is awesome. You know, she is just an incredible singer, and so it's a great piece, and it just dovetails so well with the movie. So go see Persian Version. Stream it. It's great. But it's a fun song.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Yay.
I love it. We've got
Yep.
9 to 5 and girls just want to have fun represented on
All right,
our
come on.
playlist.
Come on.
It's awesome.
Let's go.
Okay, I'm gonna wrap us up
All right.
because it's late
Do it,
and I
Greg.
need to go to bed. So my last song is "Bittersweet" by Big Head Todd and the Monsters. So there was this thing that happened in the 90s where, you know, a lot of people think back and they think of like grunge music or, you know, exploding hip hop from the 90s or, you know, R&B classics like Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey and stuff like that. But there was also this weird ass like genre of music that was kind of like folky, but not quite like rocky. So think like Gin Blossoms or Better Than Ezra or bands like this. And one of those was Big Head Todd and the Monsters that came out of Denver, Colorado. And they had a couple of hit songs, but probably their best song, I would say, is Bittersweet, which is it's this pretty little song about this guy who grows up and has a crush on this girl, and he dreams about like, you know, what would it be like to be with this person? And then it cuts forward in life and they're married and the relationship isn't what he thought it would be. It's not what he had sort of envisioned in his mind. And it's this idea of like, what happens when like your dreams and reality don't quite match up, and is there a way to make reality into your dream? And are you manipulating a person to try to do that? And did you fall in love with a person to begin with, you know, or did you fall in love with the idea of a person, you know? So all of that is sort of tied up in this song. And at the same time, it's bittersweet, you know, that's the sort of chorus of the song. It's bittersweet, more sweet than bitter, more bitter than sweet. It's a bittersweet surrender. I love these sort of folky 90s songs that pop up every now and then on these playlists, and you're just like, oh yeah, I remember those guys. I wonder whatever happened to them. I'm sure they're playing like, you know, some county fair somewhere in the great wide open. But at one point they had a great song, and so shout out Big Head Todd and the Monsters.
Wow.
Nice.
Are they still around?
I'm sure they are. Like all these bands are still around, like live or.
Yeah, they're playing at the Shadow Ridge Country Club.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. Violent Femmes are still touring too. Yeah.
So that's it. We did it.
Right. We did
We
it.
did it.
And thank you, everyone. Thank you for these wonderful picks. And music is the soundtrack to life. Whether you're lonely, whether you're fulfilled, whether you're dancing around in the living room, or whether you're snuggling at home with your little teddy bear, music will make the moment. Oh, good Lord. All right. Well, thanks for listening to Popping Collars. That is our 4th annual Popping Playlist. I want to thank my co-hosts. Thank you, Liz. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Betsy. It's always good to explore new music with you and to enjoy stuff that we have in common sometimes, and other times we learn about each other from, or something like that. This is tanking.
You're doing great.
But you know what? We'll see you next time, because you're going to find us on the places where you found this. And so listen and drop us a line. Tell us what some of your playlist would be like. It's the poppingcollarspodcast.com website. No. Well,
Yeah.
let's see.
That's it.
Yeah, you can go to our website, poppingcollarspodcast.com, and check out our merch store while you're there. Pick up some Popping Collars floaties for while you're at the pool or whatever. I don't know what you do. Or you can email us at poppingcollarspodcast@gmail.com.
I don't know what you do.
I don't know what you do. Pick up a poster to hang on your wall of the Popping Collars logo.
Yes. And look for our Popping playlist at the kind of the top right corner in some little tab that I always have trouble finding.
Yeah, I just made it. It's on Spotify right now. Copying playlist 2024.
Oh, you could view. Yes, you go there and you'll find the link somewhere on our website. So that is our episode. Another wrap. I can't do this tonight.
You've got this. You've got it. Bring it home, Ricardo.
Well, folks, keep on listening, keep on loving, keep on trying, and keep on keeping those collars popped.
Pop, 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 pop.
Okay.
Great. Well done.
Great job.
Working 9 to 5.